We haven't talked about Jose Quintero.
Yeah.
He started the legendary theater
Yeah.
director. He started Circle in the Square in New York. A frequent collaborator with Eugene O'Neill, who's one of the United States and I think the world's best playwrights. Um, Also a member of the group theater, I believe. Yes, I can't remember right now, but I think so.
Okay.
So Peggy Fury, Bobby Lewis, Jose Quintero.
Yeah.
Um, what did, okay, so what did you pick up in those rooms, right? In those classrooms that you bring with you to circumstances like the ones that we're talking about right now? Because, it's one thing to just say, you know what, I'm going to be an actor, fuck it. I'll figure it out. Whatever. Well, I don't know what, whatever that means. Whatever. I'll just jump in there and I'll do my thing. I can do this, right? And then there's another thing of saying, I want to be an actor, and then saying, fuck it, of course, because you have to. You have to put yourself out there. But I'm also going to take responsibility for this technique, for acquiring a technique. So, what from those rooms? I mean, if there's anything that comes to mind,
Could prepare me for something that happened on Zero Dark 30?
correct. I mean, what do you bring with you from all that learning that you did?
Okay. First of all, there is nothing, no class, nothing that can prepare you for what it is that I had. There's nothing.
Right.
Because when you go to a class, you're learning.
So maybe maybe Zero Dark 30 isn't the best example because of the very, very,
That was very specific.
very specific circumstances. But let's just say for working on a TV show or for working on another film set where you do have the script and you do have the name of the character.
Right.
I mean, just as an actor, that you say don't take the lessons with you, just jump. They'll trust that it's there. You have to know what it is that you're leaving behind, right? Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
To know what it is that you're leaving behind,
So
it's the lessons that you've learned.
right. So are you saying, do you have a technique that you apply for each job that you get, or is it just you have the accumulation of having studied many techniques and they just live in you?
Okay. It's a twofold question. Let me see if I can. Here's the thing. First, let me say something about technique.
Okay.
I know actors that study a lick, and they're brilliant.
Right.
They read something, they look at it, they're able to process it, and they can do it.
Okay.
And they're incredible. And there are those who are really well known in the business. I'm not going to get into names.
Please don't.
Who are really, they've never studied at all.
Okay.
Okay? So there is that aspect of it. There's something about what they do creatively, how they interpret something, and they trust in their instrument, as Bobby and Peggy used to call it. They trust in this instrument to be able to just perform in the most naturalistic, sort of honest and authentic way.
Yeah.
For me personally, that didn't happen. I wanted to learn this thing. And so I acquired these tools along the way. And these tools are always there. It's like a toolbox. It's in you, and I have it, Sometimes you just got to throw all those tools out because you get there and it's a different animal. And you just have to trust that. This is why I was talking about, at least for me, and I think in a large degree, it's true of most actors. You have to trust that what you've done, everything that's led you to this point, has prepared you for this point, and that you'll be fine. And so I can reach into this tool bag and I can sort of, apply things that I know, but at a certain point, those things even become sort of antiquated. They become cumbersome. They sort of morph into something else in you. It's like like a painter when he sits there and he puts up his canvas, and he just goes, and it's just all instinct.
Right.
It's intuition.
Okay.
And all those lessons that you learned sort of morph into this sort of intuitive feeling or gut feeling that you get about what it is that you're going to do at that moment.
Right.
And you just do it. It's just trusting the moment and trusting that everything that you've done up until this point has prepared you for this moment.
And very well, I might add. I have a
Not always.
I have two more themes really that I want to touch upon. One of them is, you got to LA in the late '80s to start a career. You told me when you arrived tonight that you got your SAG card by playing a walk-on on a TV show, and
It was a film,
it was a film.
Murphy's Law,
Okay,
with Charles Bronson.
right.
Yeah, I was studying at the Loft Studio with Peggy, and there was a classmate of mine, a girl who got the lead in that film.
Yeah.
And it was an action. It was the movies, kind of movies he was doing at the time. And I was a huge Charles Bronson fan. So was my dad. We watched all of his films when I was a kid growing up. And it was this sort of crime drama, action adventure movie that he was doing, and she had booked the lead opposite him. And she knew at that point that I was still just starting out, and she knew at that point that I didn't even have a SAG card. We'd become friends, and at a certain point, she started shooting the film and stuff like that. And I think she was like midway through the film. She said, I think there's going to be this little role. If you want to come in and read for it, you could get your SAG card. It might be a line or two, Taft-Hartley, that kind of thing. And I said, yeah. I jumped at it. And so I went in to the casting director, and I think I read this line or two. It was an ambulance attendant. And they gave me the job.
Yes.
And it was probably 7-8 hours work on an evening working downtown in LA, where we had it was toward the end of the film where he's been shot up, and we have to pick him up. He's on a gurney. We have to pick him up, and they're in gurneys, and shove them into the back of this.
Physical activity.
Yeah. And say the line, and
Right.
that was it. And I was done. And that's how I got my SAG card. And
So that was in the late '80s. So
yeah.
20 some odd years ago, or
Yeah.
almost creeping up on 30 years ago.